When a treat was a treat. We have too much these days. We really do. Whatever happened to what we used to call a treat? Now in our affluent, prosperous times, we can purchase any exotic food, drink, or confection just by visiting our local market. We wolf them down, hardly taking time to taste what we are devouring, knowing that there's plenty more where that came from. When treats are no longer few and far between as they once were, we miss the anticipation, the sense of reward for our labor, the savoring, and the sweet memories of the partaking. When I was growing up in Jamestown, my family was poor even for the standards of the simpler years of the early 60s. Mama had a food budget of $10 a week to feed a family of 8. Fortunately, at that time we lived on a farm and could produce some of our own food, but my brother Kenneth used to say we would have starved to death had it not been for the A&P store. Mama would take advantage of their cheaper Ann Page house brands and their day-old bakery table. I remember that store with its green tile linoleum and its piped-in syrupy music. As you walked in the door, children's chairs decorated with a Pennsylvania Dutch pattern were displayed overhead. I greatly desired one, but had learned at an early age not to ask for things. My parents were doing the best they could, but were not able to provide many extras for their children. Most weeks, though, Mama still was able to find enough money to get us a treat. I remember a clear bag of Hershey chocolate bars she once purchased. Since I was the only kid left at home, I got mine first. I can remember the strong temptation to take another bar, which I knew would short one of my siblings their share. I must have succumbed to that bad desire because I seem to recall my brothers and sisters chiding me with cries of, "You little pig." Homemade treats included a concoction my mother called a milkshake. It was milk from our cow sook, swimming with cream and poured over a glass of ice cubes with a spoonful of sugar and a splash of imitation vanilla she had purchased from the traveling Raleigh salesman. Or it may have been the big pancake-like cookies she made from the morning's leftover oatmeal. I stood by the iron skillet in anticipation as she fried each delicious one. She also made wonderful pudding from her own persimmon tree. As I look back on those more humble days for my family, I'm amazed at how God provided for us. Through no effort of our own, our land produced in abundance. Apples, peaches, pears, persimmons, cherries, blackberries, muscadine grapes, pecans, black walnuts, and hazelnuts. Sometimes we'd go shopping at College Village. We'd stop in for a treat at the Sweet Shop Bakery. Today it takes a trip to Disney World to light a child's eyes up with wonder. In those days were those longed-for words from your mother, "Now pick out something you like." The display case at Sweet Shop Bakery would do the trick. It seems each of the surrounding community stores also held a particular treat for us. Mama stopped at Varner's store. The Varners built the store for their paraplegic daughter Peggy to run. It was treat enough just to visit with Peggy. Mom got her favorite RC Colas there. Moore store had a good meat department, and my dad's treat was their linked hot dogs. For us kids, our favorite was Blair's store on Main Street, where we would redeem the deposit from bottles we had dug out of the roadside ditches. Since the candy we purchased there was from the fruits of our hard labor, it tasted that much sweeter. When traveling to see our relatives down in the country, as my parents called it, we'd often stop for a treat at the blinding white curb market on Highway 64. I can recall the flat lay of the land, the far-off whine of the wheels of an approaching car, the slapping sound of maturing cornstalks, and the whistle of the red-tailed hawk overhead. Their Coke cooler was the old horizontal type that you had to shift bottles around to find your favorite flavor. Back in those days, Coke and Pepsi didn't have such a monopoly, and there were all kinds of drinks from independent bottlers to choose from. Digging through those coolers was like searching for buried treasure, but you had to hurry before Daddy called "Time's up," saying something like, "You're letting all the cold out." For a travel-worn kid, hanging your face in a Coke cooler on a hot summer day was a treat in itself. But I think the ultimate treat for us was when the homemade ice cream freezer was brought out at my Aunt Jane's house. To me, homemade ice cream incorporates all the elements that make a treat a treat. The anticipation. It takes a long time to make homemade ice cream. The sense of reward for your labor. Any of you who have ever hand-cranked an ice cream freezer will amen that point. The savoring. It's hard to wolf down a big bowl of ice cream on a sleepy Sunday afternoon, sitting under a large shade tree with those you love.
you.